Hello friends, welcome to Top of the Stack MTG. So today I have kind of a complicated topic. I want to talk about Arena having a casual mode. I want to talk about why I think it's important and what solutions Wizards of the Coast could possibly use to get it implemented onto Arena. And it's a lot. It's a big topic. So, all right, let's get started. So why would Arena bother to have a casual mode? I think there's a couple different good reasons that they should look into it. Number one is Wizards of the Coast has stated that their most profitable group of players are the casual players. They make the most money off casual players as a group. And I don't believe that that's true as an individual, because I don't think casual players by themselves spend that much on Magic. But I'm not positive because also like Spikes, a lot of the money they spend goes straight to the secondary market, which supposedly Wizards has nothing to do with, right? But as a group, casual players spend more money. Now, why would I care about Wizards making money? And of course, the reason is because I want Arena to be around in 10 years. And the only way Arena is going to last is if it rakes in cash hand over fist. Wizards must make a fortune or they just stop. They're pretty bad about just cutting things, you know. So I feel like I want them to get the casual crowd involved so that Arena continues to do well. And I'm not saying it's doing terrible or anything like that. I think it's doing just fine. I'm sure it is. And I think Wizards is pretty happy with it, or else they wouldn't be trying to work on it, you know. I think it's fine, but I want it to continue to be fine. So I'd like them to get more of the casual crowd involved. And the second reason that I really kind of want casual players to be more involved is it's kind of a selfish one. I want my casual friends to be, my casual Magic playing friends, to be more involved with Arena because they don't play it. And I think that might be true for a lot of players like us. People who play Arena have invited other people to join them and they've tried it a tiny bit and then just stopped. I think we all have friends who don't play Arena and probably should because it's amazing and it's more affordable, you know, but it's really geared towards Spikes. So it's not that fun for them. So they just don't bother to continue playing. You know, I mean, the first part, the tutorial of the game is important. And it really goes over everything, but it is so long, you know? I mean, it takes forever to get through all of those decks and all of those challenges. And by the time you're done, by the time you can actually play somebody else, you're done, you know? I mean, it's a slog. And I know you can skip it, right? But for a lot of players, a tutorial is important. This one is just, it's so extensive. And I know Magic is a tough game, you know. I don't want people to just think, oh, I've got it, I can just jump in, you know, because that could hurt them as well. But, yeah, our casual friends don't play Arena, and I wish they did. Now, a lot of people will say that Arena does have a casual mode. In fact, they'll bring up two different options. Number one is the Friend Challenge. The Friend Challenge is, of course, where casual mode is. All right. So I'm going to go into, I've jumped into the game because I want to go into the Friend section because it's made some progress. It's not great, but it's okay. So to start off with, there's no way to send a friend request to a person that you just played. The only way to add a friend is to put in their email address or their full username for the game, right? So you can see mine here, top of the stack MTG number 42261. You need that number and the number, right, in order to add them, or you need their email address. So you can add people that you know, but you can't, you have to get that number somehow. Okay. Now, some people will say, yeah, what you do is you go on Discord and then you try to talk to people and try to get the friends there. I do want to point out that we're talking about casual players. Casual players are not going to download an additional program in order to make their video game fun. They specifically need the game itself to be fun, and this technology is not hard at all, right? I should be able to send a friend request to somebody that I just played, and they can say yay or nay. They don't have to accept the request. You know, I don't even really need to be able to communicate with them. Just sending the friend request would be enough, I believe, because if they accept you as a friend, then, and this is kind of nice, you can communicate with them, right? I don't have a person online right now, but if I did, I would be able to click on them and I would be able to message them. I don't just have to challenge them. I can just say, hey, what's going on? And they can type back, which is pretty cool. So there is the ability to communicate with people that are already your friend. But it's difficult to get friends on here unless they're specifically people that you know. So that's okay. It's not amazing. Once you get into the challenge, you've got a tiny bit of versatility, which is kind of nice. You can say, I want to play best of one, or I want to play best of three. The person who sends the challenge sets up the rules. But you can talk with the person you're challenging beforehand to establish what those rules are. It's a little weird because once you're in there and you're determining what the game is supposed to be, you can't communicate with the person anymore. You've passed the point where you can send them messages because you're in a new menu now, and you can't back out of that menu, which is kind of a pain. It's really clunky, and that's true with a lot of Arena. It's not well described and it's really clunky, and it's a little bit buggy. Thankfully, the bugginess isn't true for playing most of the time in Arena, but it's really kind of clunky when you're friend challenging. Like, we were experimenting earlier, and I had Dana cancel on her end, and it froze my end. So I had to Control-Alt-Delete to get out. It's a buggy, weird system. So just beware of that. So let's say I jabbered somebody. Sorry, not jabber. That's what I use at work. But let's say I messaged somebody through this system here, and I was like, hey, you want to play a game? And they were like, sure. And I was like, okay, should we do best of three or best of one? And they're like, let's do best of three. So I would go ahead and jump over to here. This is where the menu would pop up. Once they accepted the challenge, I would have to determine our boundaries. And one of the options is limited. But you can't actually play limited with a friend. I really wish it would give you packs and you could draft or you could do sealed or whatever. You can't do it. The most you can do is pick a 40-card deck. So if you had built a deck that you drafted earlier and they had built a deck that they drafted earlier, you could challenge each other with your draft decks, and you could choose limited as the option. I don't know why, because you can just change the deck size to 40 anyway and just choose your draft decks. So I don't know why it says limited. It's weird. Hopefully it's that in the future we'll be able to do those things. Now, of course, you can't challenge more than one person. It's only 1 versus 1. But you can do best of 3 or best of 1. You can pick which kind of deck you want. So it's okay. I can't give that player stuff. I would love to be able to give another player wild cards, right, that I've acquired throughout time. It would be kind of nice, especially if they're a new player, to be able to help them out a little bit. Also, rewards. You don't get win rewards, but you do get the quest rewards. So if you had like play 20 lands, if you play lands while challenging a friend, that quest reward will go up. But if you win the match, you won't get one of your 4 wins for the day. So play mode is close to being a casual mode, but it's not quite there. It doesn't have, you can't communicate with the person while you're in the match. Once again, you would have to download Discord, and once again, a casual player is not going to do that. They're just going to stop playing. It's a very weak attempt at a casual mode. So it could become a casual mode in the future. It's very possible that in 10 years this will be amazing, but it's not amazing right now. It's very weak and very strange and buggy. It doesn't explain itself well at all. A new player is going to be like, wow, what's limited? Oh, it's exactly the same, right? So it's not a good casual mode, but it might be in the future. It's an option if they want to focus time there. But let's jump back to definition. How do you define what a casual player wants? Because every kitchen table is different. Some people don't use planeswalkers. Some people don't use mythic rare cards. Some people don't use blue cards. Some people let you mulligan over and over and over and over again. Some people let you draw 3 cards per turn. Some people stack their deck, 2 spells, 1 land, 2 spells, 1 land. The possibilities are endless. Literally, Commander was created by casual players. Wizards had nothing to do with it. They just saw it, realized how popular it was, and took it. Okay? That's it. So the possibilities of how casual players play are endless. So how could you possibly define what a casual player wants? To me, the best definition of a casual player is someone who makes their own rules. So if you truly want to please the casual crowd, you need to give them the ability to create the rules of the game. Now that's the most extreme. I believe the solution that Wizards could pick, there's a ton of solutions and they're on a big spectrum, right? The most extreme option, in my opinion, would be guilds, right? Players can create a guild. I could jump in and be like, hey, I'm going to make a guild. I'm going to say no blue cards. I'm going to say you get 7 copies of every card. I'm going to say you get to draw 4 cards per turn. You have to have at least 4 players in order to really start a game. You don't use commanders. And you don't shuffle your deck. You just stack it any way you like it. That's my guild. I'm going to call it Crazy Guild. And then anyone who wanted to sign up for Crazy Guild could. They would go to the lobby, they'd look through the guilds and see the rules that were created. They'd pick the one they'd like, and they'd join that guild. Right? Now, I don't know if many people would join Crazy Guild. And honestly, it doesn't really matter, because at least that person got to express themselves and say, this is the way I like to play Magic. I'm making Crazy Guild. And they could make it. And above that, they could invite their friends. Maybe there's a group of 5 people who love to play Crazy Guild. And they could all join the guild. They'd be the only 6 people in that guild. And they could play the way they like, you know? So the pros for being that extreme for guilds would be casual players would adore it. They would eat it up. They'd be all over it. All of my friends who casually play Magic would be on Arena, and we would be playing once a week. at least, right? We never play Magic now because I've moved away. So we don't get to play Magic together. But on Arena, we could if they did that, right? And that's a huge plus. Now, the cons, of course, would be population, right? Arena doesn't have infinite players, and it never will have infinite players. It does have a lot of players, but if a lot of guilds started becoming really popular, it could hurt the core way that Magic is played, right? Already with Commander. Commander's the most popular way to play Magic. People buy, I don't know what you can buy that has the rules of Magic in it. Maybe a deck creator toolkit or something. They pull those rules out and they chuck them. They do not play Magic. They play Commander, right? And that's got to feel weird for Wizards, that people just buy their playing pieces and play their own game. It's like Army Men. If Army Men had rules, right? And there's little kids who are like, oh, my Army Men, and they play the way they want. They're not going to read the rules, right? So that's got to be weird for Wizards, and it could really hurt like the standard queue. Like if Day 9 came in and made a guild that was no Planeswalkers, and if the Professor came in and made a guild that was only 2 copies of each card, and Saffron Olive came in and said no blue cards, or whatever. These guilds could become very popular, right? People could really start to like them better. And I feel like what Wizards would need to do, if that was going to be the case, is they'd have to take away the rewards for playing in a guild. And that would be rough. That would be a tough call. Because I do feel that even casual players should be rewarded for playing. But, right, you might have to say, you got to go into the normal queues and get your 4 wins if you want free cards. Then you can go over here and play for fun, right? But that's rough to just to even say, here is fun, here is work. That's a con, right? Pros are, casuals would love it, cons are, Wizards wouldn't love it so much. It could really splinter the population, and all of a sudden people are waiting 20 minutes for a game. It could be rough, really rough. So, on the other end of the spectrum, I believe is a growing ban list. Because I think if you took the average casual player, they would say 2 things. Number 1, shuffling. They want to be able to shuffle the way they want to shuffle, okay? And that's pretty easy. Arena already has that covered. The casual queue could have mana smoothing, right? I mean, it's the video game can do that. So that's not a big deal. They would want to be able to have a fun game every time and not have the luck of a card game be a problem. And now I love the luck of a card game. I love that Magic is a card game. I love card games. I want luck to be a part of my game. And I think most Magic players do. But if you don't get to play very often, luck can be a bit of a problem. So shuffling's a big deal. But I think most importantly, and the thing that Arena's missing is, they don't want to play top-tier decks. So, for the average casual player, a widening ban list might do the trick. It's much less extreme than guilds. It would only be 1 queue. Wizards has already done this in the past. What you would do is, I guess, so let's say a new set comes out. For the first 2 weeks, since that new set is out, you just play normal standard, right? It's exactly like the standard queue. In fact, the queue may not even exist for the first 2 weeks of a new set. But 2 weeks in, the top 10 standard cards get banned for the casual queue. They're just gone. You can't play them anymore. So you have to build different decks. Or the casual deck you're playing suddenly becomes more competitive because the top tier decks have been wiped out, right? And then 2 weeks later, the top 10 cards get banned again. Your deck either shifts up or it had some cards banned. Now you got to go back to the drawing board, right? Silly decks would suddenly be more fun to play because they would be successful more often, because the really powerful cards would be knocked out of the running. It would be good, right? The cons for that, I think, would be it doesn't apply to all casual players. For people that really don't like planeswalkers, there's still going to be planeswalkers, right? They won't be as powerful as Obnixilis because he'll already be banned, but they're going to be in there, right? So it's not perfect, but it's very simple to implement. And that's probably the biggest pro of it. Wizards has already done it on Arena. They wrote an article about how successful it was, right? And they said it's coming back. Nobody knows when. Eventually, I guess. But I think it would be just fine as a casual queue. At least we would have a place where we could point people who would say, I don't like playing Arena because all I play is the same stupid decks over and over again. And you could say, but not anymore. There's now kind of this casual queue where those cards are banned. It's really fun, right? And drafting is like that, but drafting cannot be considered a casual way to play because it's super hard. Okay? So just so everybody knows, drafting does sort of cover that, but no, drafting's not it. Yeah, so I feel like those two ends are kind of a good spectrum for a casual queue. And I think Arena is more prone to needing a casual queue than, say, Tabletop Magic, even though Tabletop Magic has a ton of casual players. But I think Arena is a little more prone to it just because there's kind of no rarities in Arena for casual players. If you want 4 copies of a specific card, you can very easily get them. You know, and I think this harkens back to when Richard Garfield was originally designing Magic, and he had the idea that he could make cards as busted as he wanted. Didn't matter how good they are. They could be so good that the minute they come out, they instantly win the game because no one would own them. Right? He figured most players would just buy a starter deck, a couple packs, build a deck, play with that their whole life, and that would be Magic. Right? Not even close. Right? The first set totally sells out. Second set, which is a reprint, totally sells out. Third reprint totally sells out. Anyone who wanted 4 copies of a card got them. The secondary market is thriving. Right? You can go buy those cards. And in Arena, it's even simpler. Because you don't have to go anywhere to do it. You don't have to order them online and wait for them to show up. You literally just buy them. That's it. You know, you need 4 wild cards, $40. I'm exaggerating a tiny bit. I don't think it's that expensive, but you get my drift, you know. Or you could buy the $50 bundle. Don't buy it, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so I think Arena could really benefit from a casual queue. Oh, another queue that people might talk about is the play queue. They might suggest that the play queue is the casual queue. And that's not true at all. Wizards has never said that. They didn't design it to be a casual queue. The play queue is for beginners. Period. The reason it's for beginners is because it matches you based upon how good you are at Magic. That's it. If you've played Arena for 3 years and you made it to Mythic a couple times, you will be paired against top tier decks in the play queue. Period. It has deck matching, right? Originally, it didn't have deck matching. It was purely based on how good you were as a Magic player. And then a lot of people who were good at Magic weren't enjoying the play queue because all they got matched up against was top tier decks, and they're saying to themselves, I built this crappy deck. I want to play other crappy decks. So everybody started asking for deck matching. And Wizards finally went, okay, fine, we'll add deck matching. And they put it into the play queue. But it's a very small, I feel like, honestly, it's a very small percentage of the balance of how good you are versus what kind of deck you're playing, right? Luis Scott Vargas can't go build a crappy deck and go stomp noobs in the play queue. Not going to happen. Arena knows how good he is at Magic. No matter how bad his deck is, he cannot play against new players. Period. Play mode will not let him do that. And I'm not saying that casual players need to play against beginning players, but most good players play good decks, no matter what queue they're in. If they're like, okay, this Ob Nixilis is kind of new to me. I don't want to ruin my ranking, but I want to get used to this card. So I'm going to go into play mode, and I'm going to play with Ob Nixilis in this new weird deck I've created, get it going really well, and then jump back into Mythic, right? Because you don't lose rank in play mode, even though you're still going up against top tier decks. So, yeah, play mode is not a casual mode. Don't think that, right? Yeah, so that's the topic. That really went on and on. I apologize. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.